Well, joining me now from Fredericton is one of the authors of the Senate report, the chair of the Senate Committee on Banking, Trade and Commerce, Senator Doug Black. Senator Black, thanks for joining us.
It's delightful for me to be with you today.
Now, one of my first question is, when we look at a figure like 10 million Canadians who have seen their personal information somehow compromised by cyber attacks, did that come as a surprise to you when the Senate was going through and hearing that testimony?
Complete shock. And let me add to that, it was 10 million Canadians in 2017 alone.
Yeah.
So that's basically 1/3 of our population. So we learned that and we were shocked. You know, we learned about the threat to various industries in this country, and we moved from concerned, I don't want to overcolor it, but we moved from concerned to terrified about what's going on and what appears to be getting ahead of us.
One of your chief recommendations is that you call for a minister of cybersecurity to be named. Some people would say, well, what good is that? That's just another politician, it's another person occupying another political function. What good would that do?
What we found throughout our study is there's lots of good intentions in lots of places, but it is not knit together. Nobody seems to own the file. So our view was someone at a very senior level needs to own the file. In fact, I was of the view, because I think the problem is so serious, that the Prime Minister should be the Minister of Cybersecurity until we reach some level of comfort. And not, all my colleagues agreed with that, and we can also agree the Prime Minister has a lot to do as it currently stands. So our recommendation was we need a senior minister who gets up every day and goes to bed every night worried about only cybersecurity and what Canada's doing to keep ourselves safe.
You call for the powers of the Privacy Commissioner to be reinforced, to be increased. What kind or what more powers does he or she need?
Well, we came to learn that the Privacy Commissioner has investigative powers, but no ability to penalize. And while we're not looking to establish a regime of penalties, we certainly need to put some teeth into what the Privacy Commissioner currently can do. We also learned that the RCMP feels that they do not have the tools necessarily or the resources to deal with the complaints that are coming in. So consequently, we have a circumstance now where most people are not reporting the violations. Most businesses are not reporting the violations. So we just continue to lose ground in this battle. So we need to recognize as a national priority that we've got to put the resources, people and money at this problem, or else we're going to pay a big price. And I worry about transmission, electrical transmission. We worry about trains. We worry about pipelines. We worry about nuclear plants. When people can get into a fridge or a baby monitor, they certainly can get into the critical infrastructure of this country. So I am just saying to Canadians and to Canadian business, we have a serious problem here that is not going away.
Well, I just want to recap on one of those things. You said, you mentioned, I think this has come up in the news, where a large private corporation has revealed that it's had a major data breach. Someone's hacked them or gotten into your personal data. And we've only known about it through maybe, through someone unwittingly uncovering it or through a media report, but they have not necessarily reported to the government for a certain period of time. And they're not acting on it until it's gone public.
Common. That is common, and in defense of the folks who have been hacked, their view is, well, why bother reporting it? Because nothing's going to happen. Nobody has the power to deal with it. It's just, frankly, going to embarrass me and alarm my customers. So we have a circumstance here now where some pretty fundamental change needs to be made to protect ourselves.
So more powers for the Privacy Commissioner, for example, or any other body of government to enforce the corporations telling us when things have been breached,
Absolutely.
when they've been breached. Yeah. What about, you also talk about education for Canadians, because I remember a few years ago speaking with the Privacy Commissioner, and then she said Canadians are willy-nilly participating in the violation of their own privacy.
Education is key. In fact, our key recommendation, there's 3 prongs to our key recommendation around education. The first point is we need to have cybersecurity literacy, and that needs to be starting in, our view is at least junior high school, if not primary school. People have actually advocated that we should start in K at kindergarten level. So Canadians understand the ramifications of utilizing the technology that we do. So we think that is critically important. We think that the feds need to work with the province and the territories to develop support networks for business and organizations in the respective provinces. So we can train people who work, so we can upgrade skills. We heard today from an expert in the field that the weak link in cybersecurity now is people. It's not necessarily equipment and technology. So we need to make sure that we're training our people in business, in organizations, in universities, in institutions. And then we also came to learn that by 2020, there's going to be something like 5 million, now this is globally, 5 million vacant jobs in cybersecurity. And that's on the side of the good guys. So we have to train people at the post-secondary level. There are currently two universities in Canada, here in New Brunswick, and that's why we're here today, and in Waterloo. We are advocating that the Government of Canada immediately establish and fund 3 centers of excellence in cybersecurity research and training. Our goal is that we can double in the next 3 years the number of graduates who have expertise in this area. So CSIS can hire, the RCMP can hire, ATCO Industries in Calgary can hire, Amera in Nova Scotia can hire. Everyone is looking for people to help them with this problem, and we heard this continually.
Okay,
from every witness.
We will keep an eye on this. It's a very interesting report with a lot of interesting recommendations. I want to thank you for taking the time and speaking with us from Fredericton. Thanks a lot.
You bet. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.